my name is Danielle Gladstone and this is my video presentation for SimVenture on module STO 100. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you. The first question was, what have you understood about the interaction and contribution between different variables in business, for example, price setting, advertising, resources, etc. The first things that we understood almost immediately as a group was that one variable would have a knock-on effect or a domino effect on another variable that we decided to go with. For example, price setting would have a knock-on effect on quality, for example, or vice versa. One of the first things that we decided to do, or the biggest factors we decided to do, was look at different markets and do our market research in the ones that we wanted to do. In the end, we did decide that we were going to go for solo businesses, and therefore we wanted to look at what their products were, just so that we didn't spend any money or didn't waste any money on components that we didn't need. Variable that we thought was more important than the others, apart from pricing, was quality. This was because we believed that we wanted to sell a good product, so we stuck to what our competitors were doing. However, we did lower our prices so that our product looked more pleasing or was inclined to sell or gain customers through that. Advertising wasn't a very important variable to us at the beginning. We spent most of our time on training courses, or well, we spent some money on training courses to learn how to sell, so that when the time came, we knew how to sell when we set up the business properly. However, as time went on, we noticed that advertising was very important for us to gain sales. When we did start advertising, that's when we noticed that more orders were coming through or more inquiries were coming through. But it definitely wasn't important to us at the beginning. However, it did work for us in the long run. The second question was, what was the group's review process in evaluating decisions on price, quality, advertising, etc., and was the process effective in managing uncertainty and risk? Initially, making decisions as a group wasn't difficult, as we were using our market research as the basis of most of our decisions, for example, pricing and quality of our product. We did find, however, moving through the process, that talking and reading through different options and discussing them collectively was one of our main ways of, well, it was the main way of us making our decisions. For example, we'd read through advertising or options and then have a vote as to how we were going to implement those. We thought that this was the most diplomatic way of ensuring that we all got our own say. I feel like doing this, we managed any uncertainties as we worked through them together as a team and talked them through, and I thought that was the most diplomatic and the best way to solve any solutions in any business situation. Question 3 was, give at least one example of how we dealt with uncertainty and risk in exercise. One thing that we were uncertain about was when and whether we should hire someone else and if we were going to go full-time. This was around the 6th or 7th month. At this time also, we were experiencing quite high amounts of inquiries, and this impacted our performance, because as we were experiencing a high demand of orders, it was slowing down our productivity. We weren't making products as fast as we were. Question 4 is, give 2 things you have learned about managing a business and how this might contribute to effectively. This might sound very cliche and obvious, but I learned that critical thinking was very important in managing a business. Every month you are bombarded with different content that you need to review and maybe even change, and this requires a lot of logical thinking and thinking through your decisions before you make them. Also, alongside that, I think that that you have to learn from your successes and your failures as you manage a business. During SimVenture, we went through very good months where we were selling quite a lot and we knew what we were doing, and then months that we didn't really know what we were doing, and we needed to look at what we did the first month or the month before, and decide what we did well then and change anything that we didn't think that we did very well. And it's just about tweaking different things and just learning. Question 5 is choose 2 things that you've learned about difficulties in working in a group setting, and how these added to uncertainty. The first thing that I found difficult about working in a group was that everyone obviously has their own personalities and opinions, especially in my group, and quite loud personalities, and we all wanted to be heard. This did cause friction at the beginning, but we learned to manage that quite effectively. In a real business setting, this could be a problem because it could slow down productivity if you're constantly working against each other. What caused uncertainty was when people didn't show up. If someone had a certain role, or they had to decide, they were in charge of deciding what things we were going to do with marketing or things of that manner, etc. If they weren't there, it did cause problems, and we just had to pick up kind of slack off what they where they were. And obviously when they rejoined the group the next time, it slowed us down because we had to explain what we did the last time, if that makes sense.